In this video, we are going to be looking at meaning of labor. Labor is the physical or mental effort that is skill or knowledge of human used in production of goods and services. So labor is what man uses to produce goods or services. In fact, every business starts with labor because a business must be bettered. One must birth the business. One must, as it must conceive the business. So for you to conceive a business, it must be a product of mental effort. It means every business starts with mental effort, and as such, every business starts with labor. Labor is very, very essential in production. So when we are talking about labor, we are talking about skill used in production of goods and services. We are talking about knowledge used in production of goods and services. We are talking about experience uses in production of goods and services. Even the energy, the physical energy, the physical power we use in production of goods and services, moving from one place to another, taking a boat, taking that, carrying the files, all these physical efforts used, they are also categorized as a labor. That is why we say labor is a physical and mental efforts used in production of goods and services. We have types of labor. We have skilled labor and unskilled labor. Skilled labor is the knowledge or skill acquired or gained through long and specialized training. Skilled labors, skilled labor is the knowledge or skilled or experiences we gather for years. The knowledge we gather for years, the skill we gather for years, these are the skilled labor. And when you look at the skilled labor, we can be seeing that, like an accountant possesses skilled labor because he is trained for years from primary school down to secondary school. Then when he gets to university, 4 years, that is where he's going to be trained on what is accountancy. All the knowledge from primary school, secondary school gathered together will assist him in becoming an accountant after the 4 years in university. You can see the number of years, you can see the kind of training he has received to become an accountant. Even an engineer. An engineer, to become an engineer, you have to spend years in school before you can get that. All these people possess skilled labor. They are not the skilled labor. We have to correct this. These accountants, the engineer, are not the skilled labor. Rather, they are the possessor of skilled labor, because labor is not human. Labor is not a man. Labor is the knowledge or skill possessed by man. So the knowledge, an accountant is the carrier of the skilled labor. An engineer is the carrier of the skilled labor. An economist is the carrier of the skilled labor. They are not the skilled labor. And we also have unskilled labor. Unskilled labor is the knowledge or skill acquired or gained through short or no training. This type of skilled labor, it's a kind of knowledge or skill that is not taught by anybody. You just know it, or you are taught for short period of time. For instance, now cleaner in a company, you don't need to teach them, before they know how to sweep or to clean some places. Nobody trained them on how to do that. They have the knowledge already. Nobody trained them. They require no training for that. So this is an example of unskilled labor. So what that knowledge they are using is an example of unskilled labor. It could be something that's skilled or knowledge that you are trained for 3 months, 6 months, maybe be a baker, or you can be a baker, or you can be a caterer trained for 6 months. All this knowledge, catering knowledge, gathered within 6 months, they are unskilled labor. You use them to make money, but still referred as unskilled labor. The reward for labor is wages. In economics, whether it's monthly, whether it's weekly, whether it is fortnightly, that is 2 weeks, the reward you receive is referred as wages. But in business life, the reward received monthly is called salary, while the reward received fortnightly is called wages. But in economics, whether you receive at the end of the month or you receive every 2 weeks, it is all referred as wages. Then let's quickly look at the characteristic of labor. Labor is perishable. Labor is perishable is the knowledge you have, the skill you have. If you don't use it for a long period of time, you forget everything. You might forget everything. Labor is human capital. Labor is human assets. Man possesses it. Man has it, man carries it. So it's a worth of human has that knowledge. That is why it's called human capital. Labor is not free. Labor is not, the skill you have is not free. You can't give it out freely. You can't give the labor out freely. You have to pay for it. So you can't, before you render the service. So if what you give out, you don't collect money for it, there is no wages for it, there is no salary for it, that could not be seen as labor. So labor begins businesses. So every business starts with labor, because every business starts with an idea, and that an idea is a product of labor. That is why we say labor begins every business. Thank you. Labor begins every business. Thank you. Please subscribe to see more of our video.